unstuck in your search from AI to ATS. All right, I am going to keep this not on full screen because, like I said, I'm running solo today. So some of the stuff that I'm going to show you requires me to jump off of one screen and onto another. So to make it a little easier on myself, I'm going to keep it in this with this view up. And as long as you can see it, then we're in good shape. If any time something goes wrong, please stop me and we can adjust. There's someone in the waiting room. Let me get them in. Welcome, welcome. So if you are here today, you have some curiosity around how to use AI in your job search. We just recently hosted, just this past Saturday, we had to move to virtual, of course, because of all the weather issues here in North Carolina, but we were going to do an in-person career development conference in Charlotte. We had to move it virtually, but it was a really great conference, and it was around being stuck. So I'm repeating the presentation that I gave at that conference, because a lot of times, you have this fight or flight or analysis paralysis, and you know you're not happy, you need something, you may be feeling maybe underemployed. We've got, of course, we need to normalize the fact that, being unemployed can sometimes get you into a place where you're just not feeling like you have direction or strategy. So if you fall into any of those categories, you're in the right place. On behalf of Alumni Engagement team here in the School of Business, I welcome you to this event. So we're going to talk about ways that we can use AI to get through a pretty crowded job market. It is still a very tight job market. We are seeing we're starting to see some recovery from that, but it's still very, very different landscape, if you will, from some of the job markets that, depending on how old you are, will depend on how you remember, right, the job market of yesterday. And so this is being recorded. I'm going to try to watch the chat, but I've left plenty of time at the end for some Q&A. And so, like I said, please stop me if some reason some of my technology starts to fail, but I'll try to slow down as much as I can and check for those things. Again, welcome. I'm the Director of Alumni and MBA Career Support here in the Business School. I've been with Wake Forest for the last 15 years. I'm getting ready to celebrate a big milestone here at the university. I've always worked in the School of Business. I've always worked in some kind of career advising function. I worked the first 12 years here at Wake Forest with our pre-experience master's programs. Some of those programs are, the three programs are MSA, the Master of Science in Accountancy, the Master of Science in Management, and the Master of Science in Business Analytics. It's just been in the last 2 years that I've pivoted to supporting our alumni. And in the last year, I was so lucky to be able to absorb the career development for all of our MBA students across all 4 of those programs. And so absolutely have loved working with our MBA students and our alumni. And so I say all that because one of the things that's real important in any job search is your ability to network really well. So I'm going to have a place at the end of this presentation for my LinkedIn profile. We're going to talk a little bit about LinkedIn actually at the end. But I invite you all to not only connect with me via LinkedIn, but connect with each other. Hey, congratulations, you just added 10 other people to your network if you weren't already connected. So I encourage you to do that. And so here we go. Maybe. All right, so on the agenda today, we're going to talk about AI, why it's so important. We're going to frame it as using AI as this career partner, all right? you're, again, very lucky that Wake Forest and the School of Business has put resources towards helping our alums with career development. That's my job here. I wake up every day looking for additional opportunities to not only engage with our alumni, but to help them in whatever part of their career that they're in. Some people may be just starting out, and then I've worked with alums who have retired and they're looking for, maybe an act 2 or 3. And so we really encourage our alumni to reach back out to the School of Business. It's so important that we talk about AI and how you can have access to some of the same things that I know and some of the same things that I'm able to provide you, but you have access to this 24/7, and so you might not always be able to get an appointment with me, or you may have questions when I'm not available. And now you have hundreds and thousands of career thought partners who can help you navigate this. And using AI will be able to to get you moving in the right direction and think about things that you haven't actually thought about. We're in this AI era. If you are not using it, right, it's important that you think about it, because I would bet you that whenever you get into the workplace or get back to the workplace or even level up in your current organization, using AI is just a tool, and it's a skill that we all need to have in our toolbox. And so not only do we want to frame this as a career partner, but we really want to encourage everyone to use AI and learn AI so that you can be, of course, the very best version of yourself at home, in your personal life, and at work. So another poll here real quickly before we move on. How many people have used AI? Give me a yes or no. And if you have used it, what's your favorite tool? What's your favorite tool? So have you used AI, and what's your favorite tool? Drop it in the chat. Give me a chance to check the chat. Copilot. Ashley uses chat and Copilot. I love it too, girl. It's Chat GTP is my go-to. Chat is also my go-to. Nico, Claude, interesting. I like it. Chat and Claude. I use it daily, mainly Copilot. That's what you have access to work. Yeah, a lot of organizations really restrict or highly encourage you to use some of theirs. So not only can we use AI to help us in our daily work, but you really can use it as a reflection partner and to give you some direction. I'm going to show you some prompts that can get you thinking about some different things to consider in your own career development. And then we're going to talk about how we can use AI in a career pivot. And so pivoting is a very common theme in my world here at Wake Forest. I talk to a lot of our alumni, a lot of our MBA students who are not happy where they're sitting currently. They know they can do more, or they definitely have learned that they don't want to do this anymore, but they like certain parts about their job, and they want to understand how those skills or lack of skills, right? We're going to talk about skill gap analysis, can help them pivot into a different function and even pivot completely into a different industry. And so I think you'll enjoy the demonstration that I'm going to do there. And then we're going to spend most of our time talking about how we can use AI to help us refine and elevate resumes and cover letters. And then at the very end, I'm going to talk about something that's heavy on my heart and on my mind about how to find the hidden job market. And we're going to talk about LinkedIn and really dive in deep to that resource. And so we hope that you walk away understanding a little bit more and maybe have some brainstorming moments, some aha moments about how you can use AI. The only thing I am nervous about today is technology. And so here we go. The PowerPoint. All right, there we go. So the tools that I know about, there's probably so many more. I'm a Chat GTP girl, but here at Wake Forest, they really encourage us to use Gemini because we're a Google, we're a Google campus here, and they want us to use Gemini, but they don't restrict it. And so I can get to any of these systems in my day-to-day work. Here's somebody else in the waiting room. And so some of these may look very familiar to you. This is the wrong presentation because I have perplexity mentioned twice here. I fixed that, so I'm not going to stress out and try to go to get the right one. But excuse the error. But ChatGTP, very, very popular. Free. These free versions are really, really good. We're going to talk about how you can really maximize some of these resources with the paid version. A couple that you may not have thought of as an AI partner. Grammarly is a non-negotiable for me. English and grammar, it's not my, I don't lead with that skill in my world, and so I depend very much on Grammarly. It helps not only to check for typos and grammar errors, but it helps write better sentences. It helps with sentence structure, and it's really fantastic. It's an extension that's added to your workstation, and it can run off of multiple different platforms that you may be using. So it'll work on your email, it'll work on LinkedIn, it'll work in Microsoft Word, it'll work in Google Docs. So a really, really helpful tool. If you aren't using it, I highly encourage you to use it. We're going to talk about Skill Syncer when we talk about resumes. Canva is an excellent, excellent tool. Shantae, you have your hand raised. Thank you so much. Do you have a question?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, there they are. Everybody sees the list of job search tools. Fantastic. And so, all right, so we talked about Grammarly. We're going to talk about Skill Syncer. Canva is an amazing tool. There's a lot of AI that's embedded into Canva. And LinkedIn, we're going to talk about the way that you can use AI to help you up your LinkedIn game as well. But yeah, this slide's wrong. There's some repeated things on here, and I fixed it, but I can't go back and get the fixed slide. So my apologies, but it's the only thing that might hose us up here. But Teal is a really interesting AI tool. It allows you to use it for just career. So Teal has been designed just to help you tailor resumes, tailor cover letters, apply to a lot of jobs using AI. So those are just some of the AI tools that I'm familiar with and that are very helpful to your job search. I'm gonna have a meltdown. All right, so 3 parts to this presentation. We're gonna talk about how can I use AI to help me reflect on my current career and give me some guidance. Then we're going to talk about how can I use AI to pivot, right, into a different industry or to a different function. And then we're going to talk about some nuts and bolts about how to use AI with resume, cover letter, and then, of course, LinkedIn. Okay, using AI as a reflective career tool is something that I have. So I will make sure you have access to this Google Drive, but I have lots of prompts here already written out, already vetted out about using AI in different ways, because as you all know who've used this tool before, prompt engineering is critical. And so I give you permission, right, to use this in this capacity because these are your thoughts, they're your ideas, it's your background, they're your skills, and it's your critical thinking skills. And so the way that you design prompts and the way that you push the prompts will be really critical in maximizing how you can use AI in your job search. So we're going to pick this one. Let's see what happens. Can you see get unstuck reflective AI prompts? Maybe? Yes?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go over here to ChatGTP. Can you all see ChatGTP now?
Yes.
Yep.
Awesome. Yay. I'm so excited. All right, so I'm just going to copy and paste that prompt. And here's what it says. I know I need a change, but I don't know what that change is. Ask me 10 thoughtful questions to help me understand what isn't working in my current role. And guys, this is just like, it feels like magic, but of course it's not going to work. Let's see what happens now. Let's try it again. I told you guys, this is right. My anxiety level is, I've already done these searches, so hopefully they're still in here. Yes, look at that. Yay, technology. So I did this on Saturday, and it saved it. It saved it. Oh my goodness. But you get the hang of it. It does really prompt you with 10 questions. There they are. Here are 10 questions designed to surface what isn't working. And so again, this is just questions that you need to think about when you're thinking about making a career change, or if you're in a place where you're just really unhappy, what is it? What's the root cause? And it's really great. And I especially love how chat, and I'm sure the other tools do this as well. It asks you, do you want to go further? And because we're restricted on time, I just wanted to show you this one prompt and how absolutely helpful this can be when thinking about what could be next. All right, here we go. We're going to try to go back over here. Are we back with the guy with his hand on his head and the robot? Yes? Okay, yeah, I got a thumbs up. Thank you, Shantae. All right, anytime you see this button here on my presentation, which we will send to you hopefully this afternoon, if not tomorrow, anytime you click there, it's going to take you to that Google Drive. And so super helpful. All right, so moving on, if we think about pivoting with AI, a career pivot is something that, again, we get a lot of questions about here in Alumni Career Support, because it's time for a change. Some things that are really important to you in your search, and so you've been able to identify what those needs are. Some of those needs are things like, I need to live in Winston-Salem. Another need could be, I need to make a certain amount of money. Okay, money is important. It's very important. And then another need would be, I need to stay in higher education. I love my job so much here at Wake Forest. I have a very hard time thinking about pivoting outside of higher education. If I get really bored, which I never have been in the 15 years that I've been here, I may be bored with career advising, but maybe there's another type of role within higher education, within within Wake Forest, even, because I absolutely love working for Wake Forest. And so if you're able to prompt the tool really well, it'll give you some really great ideas, so that then you can narrow down your search before you jump into something. So once you narrow down the search and you know what your needs are and you have a little bit of direction, AI can be a really great partner to help you think about things that you haven't thought about. And then using it as a networking tool. If you prompt an AI tool and ask it to help you identify people within your own LinkedIn network that do a certain job, you would be surprised at the outcomes. And so for this part of the demonstration, I'm going to attempt to go over back to chat. Am I back to chat? Give me a thumbs up, Shantae. No? Yay. Okay, yay. All right, so I've already done this one, so we're going to go here, and this is the prompt. This is the prompt. Here is my resume. I just copied and pasted my resume. All right, it's pretty long. It's too long. And then the prompt, here's my resume. And then the prompt is hidden in here. Here it is. Okay. Okay, sorry about this. I've already jumped ahead. The prompt is, here's my resume. If I want to stay within higher education, but I want to leave the university system and go into industry, what kind of companies and jobs should I look for? And so we're going to go back here and we're going to, here we go, pivot. Pivoting AI prompts. Help me identify specifically what isn't working in my current role and why. And then narrow down these things. So one of the things that AI told me is that I should look into going into ed tech sales. So there are so many different technology platforms out there that universities and school systems use. And so it told me that that's something that I might want to consider. And so then I asked it to push it even further and help me design some things for LinkedIn that will help the people who are looking at my LinkedIn profile get more, know exactly what kind of great, candidate I would be for a role like that. So using AI to help you think about different industries and even different functions within those industries, it's just a super, super helpful tool. Another thing that you should think about when you're trying to make a pivot and how you can use AI to make that pivot is with checking in with your people. The Wake Forest network is so powerful and it's so mighty. The hardest part about using the Wake Forest network is finding the right people and then getting their attention. And so using AI to help you find the right kind of people to network with so that you can gain more clarity on whether this is a good industry or not to go into, and then cross-referencing your own network to find the people who you should be talking to that, again, can help give you some great information and validate, right, this path that you're on. So I'm going to pause there. I knew my technology was going to fail. I had too many moving parts. But does anyone have any questions so far about using AI for a career pivot? All right, let's go on. You can see, click here, it takes you to that Google Drive. All right, and so, right, this is where we're going to spend the majority of our time here today. And that is using AI to help with resumes and cover letters and even some messaging on LinkedIn. Before I dive into it, I just wanted to spend a little bit of time and just make sure that everybody understands how difficult the job market is to navigate. Many of you, if you've even tried to look for a job or tried to pivot or tried to do something different, you know that not only is it hard to find, pure, good, real jobs out there, right, on the internet to apply to, but even when you do find those jobs, it takes an ungodly amount of time to get through the process. And so it's a very, very crowded market, and that's why a lot of these companies, most companies actually, 75% of the companies are using some sort of applicant tracking tool in order to help them get through all of the applications that are coming through their job openings. So one job opening at a really good company could yield thousands of applications. And I recently read that only usually 20% of the people who apply for jobs are actually qualified for the jobs. And so another phenomenon that we are learning a lot about is how AI, on the bad side of this thing, right, is people are using it to auto apply to a bunch of jobs that they aren't qualified for. And so it's clogging up their systems. And so just yesterday, I was learning in a webinar from this girl who is she's a recruiter. Well, she was a recruiter for Google. And she says that a lot of times jobs aren't even posted. And the statistic that she gave was that only 15% of the jobs are even posted. That companies are not posting jobs because they're inundated not only with so many applications, but they're inundated with applicants that aren't remotely qualified for the jobs. And so they're leaning on referrals. They're leaning on staffing agencies or like executive search firms to help them find the right people. They're also doing passive job searches using LinkedIn, which I'll talk about when we talk about LinkedIn. But you have to think 15% of the jobs are advertised. That means 85% of the jobs that are actually received, job offers that are received, 85% aren't even advertised. Okay? But you still have to apply for jobs. You still have to have a really good resume, even when you're networking with people. Most of the time, especially if they're a decision maker, they're going to ask you to see a resume. So now the burden is on you, the candidate, to clearly connect the dots that you are in line with their needs. Resumes are no longer this journal of everything that you've done and every company that you've worked for and everything that you were responsible for. Your resumes now need to be this compelling story that is crystal clear to the viewer, whether it's a computer or human eyes, that you are a fit for the role. The same thing with cover letters, okay? If you've ever hired anyone in your life, okay, and I'd love to see a raise of hands of anybody who's ever had to hire someone. And I can promise you, I'm probably going to eat my words, but I'm pretty sure that you're, number one, not reading every single resume that is, you're not reading every single application. And when you do look at a resume, you're not reading every single line. I just recently had a search for a career coach here on our team supporting our MBA student population. And I got probably within a 2-month span, I probably got 400 resumes. And I only, probably of the 400, only probably about 20 were even remotely qualified to do the job. And so I didn't read all 400 of those resumes. And the resumes that I did read, the ones I did call and talk to and interview, I didn't read the whole thing. I'm just reading the highlights. And so if you're interested in learning more about resume design and formatting, then please let me know, and I will send you a direct link to another video that I did on just resumes and how we have to tailor resumes in today's market. But one of the prompts, here we go again, I'm going to try it again. One of the prompts that I like to use, so we're just going to do a new chat. I'm not going to try to figure out these pre-prompted things that I had planned. But if you say something like, here is a job description, and then I'm going to go out and I'm going to grab this job description. This is a job description for a senior brand manager at a company called National Veterinary Association. This is something I helped my nephew do. Okay? I'm going to copy the entire thing. I'm going to come back over. I'm going to paste it. And I'm going to say, here is my resume. And then you're going to do the same thing. You are going to copy and paste the entire resume. Okay? Copy. And then you're going to paste it. Okay, now you're going to prompt it. Here's the job description, paste. Here's the resume, paste. Please help me write a 2 to 3 sentence summary that I will use on my resume to clearly align myself with the needs of the organization. I love the fact that you don't have to your spelling doesn't have to be perfect in this thing. Using as many keywords as possible from the job description. And hopefully go. Please work. Okay, now it's scanning the job description. It's scanning my nephew's resume, and it's writing me a summary for my resume. Again, you do not want to copy and paste this. While this is thinking, I have to stress this more than anything. This is the part when using AI that you have to be super, super careful with, because people who read a lot of resumes and read a lot of cover letters and read a lot of emails can sniff it out really quickly that you've just copy and pasted. This should be refinement, and this should be evolving your thoughts and your ideas so that you can then present yourself in a very intentional way on your resume. And it's just going to think too hard today. Let's go over. Can y'all see Jason Davis's resume right now? Thumbs up, Shante. Okay, good. All right, you can see in theory, this is the space, right, where you would use what AI generated to help align you with the needs of the organization. And so he's still thinking. Another thing that you can do is to ask it to cross-reference your resume and the job description, and then tell you the 9 most important qualifications. In this case, we did 12 because we could fit them in nicely and neatly on my resume. So these are words directly off of that job description that you can't copy and paste these words just because of the formatting issues that you have. But the way that chat spits them out, you can continue to press the prompt, so at least just gives you a list, and then you have to get real good at how you display that information, because you don't want to embed a table on a resume. So another thing that you can do is copy your bullets, if you will, and go back to chat again and ask it, it's still thinking, of course, to rewrite your bullets so that you use more words from the job description that you currently are using. So these are just a couple of, again, I could be here all day long going through all the different ways that you can use AI to help you refine resumes. The tool that I wanted to show you is a tool called Skill Syncer. It's a free tool. All these tools are all free. And it allows you to drop your job description and drop your resume in, and it will cross-reference. I've already done some of these, hopefully, right? So I did one with my resume and a director job description for Georgetown University, and it told me I was 69% qualified for the job. It also told me the words that I had on my resume already. It gave me some ideas of some other words that I need to add. And then even down here, it shows you how it got to that 69%. And so you can see that it matters how many times you mention something on your resume, not just that it's a word that's on your resume. So network is a very important part of this job. It's mentioned 4 times on the job description, and I only have it mentioned 2 times on my resume. So if I were to add networking or network 2 more times, then that net promoter score is going to go up even more. Now, this is not a science. Don't let this stop you from applying to jobs, but it's directional to give you some hints, right? And demystify some of the things that maybe you can add differently. All right. Any questions about how we use it, how we use AI for resume building and writing? This is a loaded question, so now's your chance. You can come off mute. No questions? Okay, that hidden job market is a real thing, and I'm probably going to do an entire webinar just on how to find the hidden job market. Okay, here's another statistic that will blow your mind. I've recently worked with one of your fellow Wake Forest alums, and they were unemployed for 12 months. They could use their time a lot. It was easier for them as an unemployed person to find the time to really commit to a significant job search. So they treated it like their full-time job. Okay, they applied to 740 jobs. 740 jobs. They get 28 interviews and finally praise Jesus. Yesterday they started, they accepted one offer. So 740 applications to one offer. That's insane. 42% of those 740 applications, they got completely ghosted. They never heard from the company. They never got the thank you but no thank you, email that a lot of people get almost immediately, even when they're perfectly qualified for the job. Okay, they got 35% of those 740 applications. They did get that thanks but no thanks email template. And so sitting behind, I say all this to tell you that sitting behind your computer and applying for a lot of jobs that you see on LinkedIn or in Indeed is not the best use of your time. Okay, you have got to think about ways, and we can help you with figuring those out. Think about ways that you can learn about jobs that aren't posted, that hidden job market. And one of those ways is to use LinkedIn. And so here I go, going over to LinkedIn. And here, Shantae, help me out. Can you see LinkedIn now?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so this bucket here on LinkedIn is their jobs board, right? This is where where companies can advertise jobs. So if you go to a company like, let's just use Wake Forest University, the school, right? The main school account. And you are really interested in working for Wake Forest University, and you go here and you look at this job bucket. There are no jobs right now at Wake Forest University School of Business. Let me look at the right one. Get the right one, Sharron. This one. We need to look at this one. This is our main company profile, if you will. And you look at jobs. 63 job openings at Wake Forest. And if you go over to our career page, it's probably going to be pretty close to 63. But so many of you have probably gone to a company's LinkedIn profile page and looked at this job bucket here and seen no jobs. That doesn't mean that they don't have any jobs opening. It just means they don't have any advertised on LinkedIn. All right, so up here in this bucket, of course, it's very, very crowded. There's hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of jobs out there. And so we are hearing that this is a very, very crowded space, meaning that it's very noisy, and it just takes an ungodly amount of time, right, to get through those. The same with Indeed. And so one technique, I'm going to leave you with this one technique, because again, I could do this all day long, but we're creeping up on 12:45, is to think about ways that you can interact with LinkedIn so that the job finds you. Okay, we are hearing that recruiters are employing this passive recruiting model, right? So when you when you're sitting here, right, on your own profile, you have to remember that this platform is built off of the same algorithms that most social media is built off of. For years, I was like, LinkedIn really isn't social media. It's just such a non-negotiable, right, in the world of business, and it's something that we've all, need to use for our jobs and to find a job, and it still is that. But LinkedIn is going to show favoritism to people who are more active on the platform. And so I advise all of you to think about how you're showing up on LinkedIn in a very intentional way. Okay, so if I was really interested in working for High Point University, so you want to think about companies that you're really interested in working for. Okay, so let's say High Point University is on my list. I need to go to High Point University and I need to follow it. I'm already following it, so yay me. Okay, and then my feed, right, my homepage and my feed is going to be really rich with information about High Point University. And you need to find more people, of course, that work for High Point University, and you need to connect with them. Anybody, but mostly the most important people that you need to connect with are recruiters, of course, hopefully people that you know, right, that work for this university, alumni of if I went to Appalachian State and I worked for Wake Forest, so I would try to find people, right, that I was associated with and had that mutual connection to. I would want to connect with them, and then find people within the High Point University system, and you do that by coming here and using the alumni feature. But if it's a normal type of company, not higher ed, let's just use Google. So you want to follow Google, which I'm following, and then you want to come over here and use this people feature, and you can slice and dice the people who work there in so many different ways: where they live, where they studied, what they do, what they're skilled at. And you can do some keyword searches here, right? So you can even say recruiter. You can say recruiters that went to Wake Forest University, and it's going to curate this list, right, of people who hit that keyword search, and you want to connect with them. And I will tell you, you will get a lot better response if you add a note. So make sure you add a note anytime you connect with someone, and be direct. I'm interested in learning more about your job at Google. You're not going to ask for a job. You're going to ask for information and advice, and people are more likely to say yes. But the more people you connect with, the more jobs you save, even some of the jobs that you apply to, then see, look how smart LinkedIn is getting. It's feeding me more information. You also, once you follow Google and connect with the people who work at Google, you want to engage in the content that Google is putting out. So that activity is just going to breed more activity, and you hope that the worlds align, right? And that a job that you're qualified for is open at the right time. But it takes a lot of this kind of activity to generate that. And I will tell you that recruiters do use this open to work to recruiters only. Okay? They use that to find people like you. If you're not active on the platform, it's going to be really hard for LinkedIn to put you on the top of those lists. It's going to be practically impossible. So the more active you are, the higher up on those curated or filtered lists you'll become. And you can use AI to help you, right, stay active. Ask AI, what kind of activity can I think about if I want to be active on LinkedIn every day, right? You can like things, you can comment on things, you can share things, you can connect with people, you can answer messages. So every time you click on the platform just gives you more fuel, so that then you can find, the jobs can find you, and you can hopefully be at the right place at the right time, and connect with someone and engage with that content so they think of you when a job becomes open. All right, it is past 12:45, so I've got to stop there. Again, I could go on and on and on about this, but I hope some of the takeaways that you have today are around using AI for clarity, not shortcuts. It'll give you a stronger alignment to the market. So here's my resume. Here, are the things I'm really good at. Here's the knowledge base that I have. Tell me, AI, what kind of jobs and what kind of industries I should be looking at, right? It's going to align you to the market. And it's really going to help refine, right, some of these documents that we have to use and some of the language and the messaging that we send to people. I give you permission to use it, okay? It is an ethical way to exercise a job search, to navigate the job search, and you just have to use it in the right way. And you're going to run into it no matter what your career path is. And so we want to be able to use it, really wisely. So there's my LinkedIn. There's a QR code there that takes you straight to my LinkedIn. I'd also encourage you to follow Wake Forest School of Business, and join Wake Forest University School of Business private group and Wake Forest Alumni private group. That's where we push through any kind of experienced hire job opportunities that come across our desk. So that's all I have. I can stick around for a few minutes. If you need to drop off, please do. If not, happy to stay a few minutes and answer some questions.
Yeah, Sharron, thank you for this presentation. This is great, the great information.
Good.
I have two questions.
Yes.
One is, if connecting with recruiters within different companies and sending a message, what would be the best message to send?
And so when you connect with them on LinkedIn, right, when you send that connection request and you add a note, you only have, if you have the premium subscription, I think you have 600 characters. And if you don't have the premium subscription, I think you're restricted to 300. Don't quote me on those numbers. But you've got to be direct and to the point, right? I'm interested in learning more about roles at Google, at Bank of America, at Ogilvy, wherever, right? So if you approach things from a curiosity perspective, they're more likely to say yes. Now, if a recruiter has used that platform, has used LinkedIn to promote a job opportunity on their page, in their post, you see a lot of people say, hey, my team is hiring. I'm looking for a program manager in Seattle. Anybody interested? Please send me a message. If you see that on LinkedIn, you should absolutely respond to the actual message that you see and connect with that person, and add a note. Does that help, Claudia?
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. My second question is, when applying, is a cover letter still needed?
Cover letters. Good catch there. I didn't talk a whole lot about cover letters because we are seeing that more and more companies don't require a cover letter. I would say, if you've ever had a session with me, you've heard me say this, and that the resume is the new cover letter, right? You wouldn't send the same cover letter to every single job application or every single job that you apply to. Now we can't send the same resume to every single job that we apply to. We've got to tailor it, and it's got to be specific. So because of that, less and less job applications are requiring a cover letter. But if they are required, then you've got to write one, okay? And it's got to be specific to really connect the dots with the reader to say, you need somebody that has these 5 qualifications. I have these 5 qualifications. And you've got to be able to kind of prove it in a very short and succinct way. And so if everyone's interested, again, I think everybody stuck around. Let me see some let me see some yeses in the chat, and I'll include my cover letter writing guide when we follow up. Yes. Yes, Sarah says yes. Claudia, yes. Shantae, yes. All right, cover letter guide coming at you. I would not waste a lot of time writing them if they're not required. People just aren't reading them. I don't read them. It is required that every single person who applies for a job, and any job at Wake Forest, has to include a cover letter. And I will only read them if I look at the resume and something doesn't make sense. Like you're applying for a job in Winston-Salem and you live in Seattle. What? I might read a cover letter. But I won't talk to anybody who doesn't submit one because it's required. And so you didn't follow the instructions. So you have disqualified yourself by not following the instructions, even though I'm probably not going to read it. I know that's mucky it's as mucky as it can possibly be, but it's, everyone approaches things differently. Other questions?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, if there's no other questions, I'll let you get on with your day. Hopefully, if there's snow around you, it's melting. I love a great snowstorm. I like it for about 2 days, and then I'm over it. So we're on day 10 now of not having any school here in Forsyth County. And so it's a different world when the schools aren't open. But everybody have a great day. And if you have any questions, please feel free to send me an email. And also you can send me a message on LinkedIn. I'm on that platform every day, all day. I need it to do my job. And so it's a critical part of me being a successful career advisor here at Wake Forest. Have a great day, everyone.